Each year, Reinventors puts on our signature Reinvent America series, in which we pull together innovators from many different fields from all across the country to work on the big challenges facing the country today. We had one overarching theme for the entire season. It was, how can technology best be leveraged to really remake America for the better? We had the perfect partners for this season in the form of Tech for America, or T4A.org. This is a group of really top entrepreneurs, top technologists. These are folks that really care about how technology can actually help improve the public sector, improve the civic sector, and really make the country as good as it can be. What really makes the Reinvent America series special is the caliber of person that is actually brought to the table and actually really participates. And it's that intermingling of those different perspectives, backgrounds, expertises that really makes the conversation rich and actually has the breakthrough ideas that move towards solutions. We had top government officials from the highest reaches of the federal government, Claudia Williams from the White House, and others like the country's former chief technology officer, the new chair of the Federal Elections Commission, and the chief innovation officer of USAID. We had top journalists coming from leading media establishments of the Washington Post, Nancy Scola, and others from the Financial Times and the San Francisco Chronicle. We had many well-known authors of many trailblazing books, including best-selling author Michael Pollan. We had a terrific group of entrepreneurs. One of the co-founders of Code.org, Hadi Partovi, or Jen Palka, the founder of Code for America. We had top professors from many of the leading universities in the country, Clay Shirky from NYU, and we had many different kinds of thought leaders from their respective fields. Joe Trippi, the brilliant campaign strategist. We had many venture capitalists who have a broad view of what's happening in tech and in the broader economy. Garrett Bruner, the founder of Ask.com. And of course, we had many top technologists. The founder of Craigslist, Craig Newmark, and leaders in artificial intelligence in the open source world. We had some of the leading activists who really understand organizing on the internet. The founder of Change.org, Ben Rattray, or the top leaders of Move On. And we had many civic leaders who were coming from a variety of fields. We had an amazing group of top-tier thinkers and innovators. One of the other striking things about this series was how much impact these roundtables had and how much happened after the end of the conversation. Take our Reinvent Net Neutrality roundtable.
You know, the future of the internet is the future of everything, every industry, every economy.
If you ever cared about network neutrality, now is the time to act.
Way back in June 2014, when many people were thinking net neutrality is a lost cause, or was going to be some kind of watered down version, perhaps emerging at the end of the summer, we gathered top thinkers around this, and in very short order came to a consensus that, you know, the only way really forward to safeguard net neutrality was to reclassify the internet under Title II of the Telecommunications Act.
I'm very heartened by Anna's sense that the president, having campaigned on this issue, can be brought around.
That was seen as laughable at the time. But in short order, an emergent strategy came out of this roundtable, and eventually a call to arms.
We shouldn't speak like losers, guys. We're going to win. Right? We're told all the time that things are impossible. I think we have a shot of winning, and I think Plan A is probably as likely as any other plan at the moment.
Or take our Reinvent the Food Movement roundtable. We had Michael Pollan, one of the leaders of the food movement, anchor that remarkable roundtable. And for the first time, he laid out in public a big idea he had on how to reshape the entire national food policy.
We are, in effect, subsidizing both sides in the war on type 2 diabetes. We're paying farmers to grow high fructose corn syrup, and we're paying the cost of insulin pumps at the same time. And so that's what you need policy for, to make that impossible.
And within weeks after this, Pollan and some of those on the roundtable had published an op-ed in the Washington Post calling for this policy. And right after that, many different conferences were picking up the call and, in fact, signing people up to join the movement. Or take our roundtable on reinventing government procurement. This is an arcane subject, but we brought together the very top people in the country to talk about this. And it was such a rich conversation. And in fact, since that time, we've actually developed an entire series of what's going to be maybe 18 roundtables that's going to go deep in the weeds and finally to help solve that very intractable problem.
We have to roll up our sleeves and believe that we can do it, and we have to go here to the Beltway and say, look out, we're going to change it. We have to transform it.
Now, throughout the year, we were consistently taking on different topics that were looking hard at how technology is disrupting a different area, but also could lead ultimately to better solutions. We looked at how technology is impacting healthcare, particularly in stopping pandemics.
It's really not if there's going to be another pandemic, it's when.
And this was happening at the height of the spread of Ebola. We actually brought together top government folks, literally from the White House and USAID, and top entrepreneurs to work out how can we accelerate getting new technologies into the field.
When you have a problem like this, in some sense, the right answer for the federal government is yes. What it should do is do multiple things simultaneously, giving people contracts to actually build real things that are at a scale that matters.
I think we need the world to help us prioritize. If it's just up to us to say this is absolutely the most important and this isn't, and we have the funding and the regulatory mechanisms to do that, but how can we tap into a broader set of intelligence?
American exceptionalism tends to happen when the going gets tough in this country.
We looked at technology's impact on education. In particular, we looked at how to reinvent digital education and scale it up so that all young people, K through 12, throughout the country gets exposed to the benefits of technology.
There's two things that are actually, I think, really fundamental and foundational. One is learning how technology works. The other type of thing is learning how algorithms work.
We looked at technology's impact on politics. And in this group, we actually raised the bar on what's possible and actually judged ourselves pretty harshly that we haven't really even begun to actually push what technology can do to re-energize democracy.
Technology has largely unrealized potential of technology to improve democracy.
In politics, campaigns are the startups and candidates are the companies.
All of the rules that we now have at the FEC are going to have to change.
I think one of the things that you've got to do is make both parties obsolete.
I really do believe that tech will improve democracy. I think it's actually nice to see the tech industry care about these issues of democracy.
We looked at technology's impact on the economy. Particularly, we looked at how artificial intelligence, AI, was going to disrupt the job markets.
Most of the jobs that people are kind of fighting to retain are jobs that humans shouldn't be doing to begin with. Every experience we've had in the past is that technological automation increases new jobs. Basically, robots invent new jobs for us.
To be sure, the series wasn't just focusing on technology. Many of the roundtables had to do with citizenship.
A lot of the individuals who are coming out of Stanford looking to start something are really looking to embed mission in what they're doing.
We had a very moving roundtable on how could we help veterans returning from our foreign wars better integrate into the American economy.
It's important that we start this conversation, not because we owe a debt to those who have served, but because we really owe it to ourselves as a country to think about and try to understand the growing civ-mil divide in our country.
And that entire 90-minute session was peppered with very moving kind of instances of the struggles of individual soldiers.
I served in the first Gulf War. That was 20-some years ago, and I think about it, literally every day and continue to process some of those experiences. Processing of the wartime experience, it goes on for a lifetime.
We all ought to see veterans as a major resource.
They're looking for challenge and responsibility. They're looking for a mission-driven experience, and they're looking for a team that they can trust and believe.
We had a very encouraging roundtable on what the tech industry could do to improve its social impact. How could it actually make a more positive impact on a broader slice of America?
Younger folks coming out of school, they don't have the cognitive bias, I think, of the previous generation, which is we make a bunch of money and then we give it away. It's, how do I have meaning and purpose and impact with what I'm doing with my time every day?
There's a huge number of founders who are thinking, how do I achieve long-term positive social impact?
By the end of the season, we showed once again one of the core principles of Reinventors, that in every one of these roundtables, The whole is greater than the sum of its parts.
There's almost nothing you can accomplish anymore in the world without collaboration. Hold up one of these phones and say, like, no one person knows how to make this. You have to build things in teams.
The real secret here is not about just having one person lay out their idea. In fact, it's everyone bringing a piece of the puzzle, everyone bringing something to the table that is valuable and that is really essential to thinking through and iterating the ideas, iterating the solutions, and really thinking through in a better way how we can actually solve many of the challenges that are facing us in the country today.
First of all, this has been a great discussion, and I really enjoyed it. And I think I got about 4 new story ideas out of it.
The future chair of the FEC literally said 2 things which were remarkable, and one is all the rules we have are going to have to change. And the second is money in politics is a problem, and I'd be happily out of a job.
There's inertia, and some things are hard to change and hard to move. This change is inevitable, and what we ought to be thinking about doing is making it happen as fast as possible.
It's also why I'm so excited and grateful to Reinventors and T4A for organizing this, because they started a really important conversation.
This community, more than any other community, has the ability to solve really complicated problems. So if we had the sort of will and the desire, along with the humility and the empathy, there's no question in my mind that we could really address this in a powerful way and set an example for other communities.
Thank you, and we'll see you next season.
Thank you.